everybody to Drive Through Sports with Adam and Paul. Today is Memorial Day, May the 25th, 2020, and I'm Adam Freeman coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. Paul Brees is with us in Dixon, Tennessee tonight.
Bellevue
on the west side of Nashville tonight. So we welcome you guys all in tonight on today, what is a Memorial Day. I know everybody's been spending some time with family, and you may hear it. Some fireworks going on in my neighborhood, so you may hear that in the background. I apologize, but we're celebrating our servicemen and women and all that they have done so that we can do crazy stuff like this, have our own podcast and talk about sports and everything that's going on. What's been up with you today, Brees?
Yeah, if you hear any noise in the background, it's probably a big game of cornhole going on that could draw fisticuffs, and who knows, somebody could be taking out somebody else. But
no holds barred cornhole.
Yeah, I got the front yard mowed, and then it started to rain. So
yes, it rained extremely hard here about 7 o'clock. Which was nice because I just put down some grass seed last week, and I've been having to water it every night. So don't have to water it tonight. So no watering for me. Nature did it for me. So that was so I got that going for me. So well, that gets us to, as you can see, both of us, again, we don't consult each other beforehand when it comes to our virtual backgrounds of our screens. And both of us tonight opted to go with something from the Champions from Charity event yesterday, which was literally the best thing I have seen in over 2 months. Brees, do you agree with that?
100%.
I'll go as far as to say that was better than The Last Dance to me.
Wow.
Yeah, it really was, because it was real. It was guys that I like, I like Phil, I like Tiger, I like Peyton, and I like Brady, and just seeing them out there, just being guys, they were just a foursome. Now, granted, 2 of them were elite golfers and 2 of them were elite football players, but you get them out on the football field and they do the same stuff we do. They talk about shots, they talk about reads, they talk about breaks. Well, and that was part of what I really loved about watching it was the fact that they were mic'd up and they had cameras in the carts. And, I mentioned on Twitter yesterday, man, Tiger drives his golf cart just like me with his legs sticking out, Yeah. So it really, I think it was great for golf, but it was really great for sports because it definitely needed something like that. It was awesome.
One thing I thought was interesting was guys like Tom Brady, who is considered to be one of the all-time greatest in his sport, can be just a regular person, regular Joe Schmo on the weekend playing golf. I mean, it took him a while to get it dialed in. But, when he first started, I thought, yeah, that guy is human.
Yeah, those first 8 holes were forgettable. But let's first say this: you would never catch me playing in weather like that. Let's put it like that. It's simple. If it's raining that hard, I'm headed to the clubhouse. Dude, they gutted it out. Those conditions, the first probably 4 holes, 5 holes, they were terrible. Terrible. Yeah. In fact, had that not been scheduled, I don't think they let people play on that. There's no way. Those are the only 4 guys that they would let play on that course in those conditions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple of things when you're talking about the rain that was very funny where when I think Brady said on maybe 13 or 14, hey, is somebody going to let us know when the real heavy stuff is coming? I mean, and it was just downpour.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then, just the way that, the course still looked immaculate.
Yeah.
After all that rain. I don't know who was ahead of them, squeegeeing all the greens off. I don't know if that was the case or
Yeah, I'm sure they had some prep teams ahead of them, but
Yeah.
you're right, man. That course, um, when the rain abated and went away, I mean, the greens were still fast. Like even after all that rain, it was crazy. Um, so it was great, like you said, to see the cape sort of come off of Superman, so to speak. Hey, there is some Clark Kent in there. But then ninth hole, he shows you, I still got it. And Chuck, take some of that medicine.
Yeah,
That
Charles Bar.
that was awesome. Barkley's chirping, and look, Barkley's the last guy that needs to be chirping about somebody's golf game.
I mean, that guy has got some kind of mental hiccup
it
with the game of golf, and his swing is
so
just
bad.
yeah. And you talked about the last guy to give any kind of trash talk is him. And Brady, you said just shut him up pretty quick. Now it was just
Chuck, shut up, Chuck.
yeah. So, the funniest part, I don't know if hopefully you see in the background, is when Brady goes and picks up his Eagles, or was it for birdie? I guess
it was for birdie. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I had a rough go of it until he got to that shot, but split his pants. No, I don't know who was the person that had to inform him of that, but they went back and said, "Hey, Tom, switch the outfit up," and he goes, "Yeah, I split my pants." And I think he was Under Armour. When Zion tore his shoe up, Zion Williamson, I think Under Armour was holding their breath, thinking that hopefully Tom Brady was not wearing Under Armour pants. And I think they, after doing some research, that he did not wear Under Armour pants. So they dodged a bullet right there in the marketing.
Yeah, that would have killed their apparel marketing side of things there. If it couldn't hold up to 9 holes of golf, a pair of
let me ask you real quick.
$110 Under Armour pants. Yeah.
You talked about the rain. I wanted to throw this out to you. Out of the 4 players, who would be the one guy that you would have seen look at the tournament director or whatever and say, "I'm not doing this"? Do you think there would have been one guy you would have picked that was out of those 4 guys?
Out of those 4 guys, no.
Okay.
I don't think any of them. I don't think it even. I don't think it even crossed their minds that we're not playing this. I don't think it even crossed any of their minds, because for those guys, especially for Phil and Tiger, okay, this will will be a little more challenging, and for Brady and Peyton, they approached it the same way. These guys aren't, the pros aren't worried about it. I'm not worried about it either. I'm playing through it too. So in that foursome, no, they weren't. I don't think any of them were like, we need to stop. It's raining too hard. I don't think they were going to do that.
I'm going to give a quick shout out to my guy, Peyton Manning. I mean, when you're retired, your golf game gets a little better. And that guy, he's not bad.
He's not bad. And you heard, Tiger talk about, like, hey, we've played. He's gotten a lot better. He's improved his game, and you could tell. I mean, when he addresses the ball, he's confident. His technique is pretty good. And once he kind of got warmed up, he hit that one shot, almost a hole in one, just a great shot. And then Brady had that really good shot, and then of course Brady had a lot of shots that looked like, I hit a great drive and I'm 100 feet from the hole and I get a 6. That's kind of that to me was reassuring to know that, hey, even Tom Brady can be 100 yards out off his drive and still get a 6 on the hole, just like me. So it was, I'm sure it was a humbling experience for those guys, but knowing that they raised, I think, over $20 million.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but here's the thing: they got some of my money. Okay, I did. Now I'm not a riverboat gambler like yourself. Okay, but I'm always up for raffle tickets. I'm big into that. Like when we go to the Braves game, my buddies rag on me all the time because I always go 50-50 raffle. I always buy 50-50 raffle tickets. And so when you could go online, I got online. So I got $25. I got 25 chances to win a Hawaii vacation. And I also paid $10 for 10 chances to win a Tesla. So I figure what the heck, it's for a good cause. And if I win the car, I obviously can't keep it. I got to sell it because I don't know that I could drive a car that expensive. I'd be too afraid somebody would hit it in the Kroger parking lot, or some kid would, mess it up in the school parking lot, or, I couldn't drive something that expensive. I mean, I would probably sell it and put a pool in the backyard for the kids or something. So, but they got some of my money and I was glad to give it up. And that kind of gets us to the next category on our show here. And I don't know what happened there, but and that's today's GOAT. So who is today's GOAT? And you came up with this category, so I'm gonna let you take off with it.
Well, it was just interesting to see those four guys, and the naysayers of one side or the other. Who do you think the GOAT is in golf, GOAT in football, basketball with Jordan? We really, who would be the guy that you could see being the top dog, or, as I've heard earlier, the top female? And I think it was mentioned on a show that I was watching that a certain individual felt like Serena Williams would be today's GOAT. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yeah.
But, the gentleman was talking about, birthing and then coming back and winning a major and having to beat your sister, multiple times. I guess, my question to you would be, if you had to pick a baseball player, I think I know what you would say, but knowing you're the baseball connoisseur, obviously.
So you're asking me today's, like, who I think today's
correct
GOAT in the game of baseball is. I think there's probably maybe a handful of guys that you could pick. If we're talking position players, I think really it begins and ends with Mike Trout.
All right, that was the guy.
Yeah, 5-tool guy, young, got the big contract. He's not going anywhere. He's locked in. They're committed to him. I think he's got everything. His numbers are going to be out of control as long as he can stay healthy. I think, he's definitely a 30-30 guy probably for the next 5 years. He's going to hit over 300. He's going to drive in 110, maybe 120 runs a year. I think he's your my man.
Dude, I'm here.
Yeah.
What happened? Was that you or me?
I don't know. I think it must have been your internet connection, but I think we're still going strong here. But getting back to your question, I think it begins and ends with Mike Trout at this point for baseball. That I'd like to say Cody Bellinger, but he's got to work on that average. Mike Trout does it all right now. So yeah, man, that would be my take on that. But all those, I agree with the Serena Williams comment. I think that's with everything she's accomplished, plus having a child, coming back, winning, that's incredible. It's amazing. We haven't really talked about, because I think the Champions for Charity thing overshadowed everything that happened yesterday. including the 30 for 30 Lance Part 1, which I did get to see. Did you get to watch any of that?
I did not.
Okay. A lot of it was things that had been mentioned in previous documentaries about Armstrong. But at the time, I can remember when he was at his peak thinking this about him. He is the greatest of all time. And then you start to hear rumors and then it all comes out in 2013. He goes on Oprah and says, hey, yes, I used performance enhancing drugs, and then everything kind of falls apart. But I think it's interesting too. We use that term GOAT a lot. Like he's the GOAT, she's the GOAT, whatever, he's the GOAT of this or whatever, and that's, I can't imagine the pressure that brings with it if you're that person to just perform and deliver night in, night out. Takes a special individual. Speaking of special individuals, Paul, we lost some special individuals this last week in the world of sports. One in particular for me, Eddie Sutton, who coached probably my favorite player at Kentucky, Rex Chapman. He was at Kentucky for 85, 86, 86, 87, 87, 88 seasons. And took them, I think, to an Elite Eight in 86. They were 32-4. We talked about he's the only coach in history to take 4 schools to the NCAA tournament, 3 Final Fours, 2 with Oklahoma State, 1 with Arkansas. Won over 800 games as a coach. So that's saying a lot. And he passed away, and the NBA lost someone as well this past week.
Yeah, and just the reason that I felt like we needed to cover this just real short was that, with this pandemic happening, people are not getting memorialized as normally they should. And just some of the people I felt like, you look up and you're like, oh man, hey, that's a pretty big, per individual in our memory bank. And, obviously it's a shame when you lose someone for sure, but during this time, I'm sure it's even twice as hard just because you can't properly, give them the proper memorial per se.
Yeah, I mean the ceremonies have to be smaller and very limited, and it's just unfortunate. Jerry
Sloan, Eddie Sutton, Jerry Sloan, former coach of the Utah Jazz. We talked about Don Shula on one of our podcasts. Tavares Jackson, backup Super Bowl winning quarterback with the Seattle Seahawks. Actually, he was a quarterbacks coach here at Tennessee State University, and he passed away in a car wreck. And then Tom Dempsey, the NFL kicker without toes on his kicking foot. The New Orleans Saints. At the time, had the 63-yard record kicking field goal.
And that record held up for decades.
A while, a long time. And then one that kind of hit home to me was Curly Neal from the Harlem Globetrotters, because you always, growing up, I thought the Globetrotters were amazing. I don't know. I was so mesmerized.
Yeah, I don't know any kid our age, 6, 7, 8 years old, that didn't want to go see the Globetrotters. That was the thing. It was better than the circus for me. Like, I didn't really like circus growing up. I went one time and I didn't get it. Like, it was like, it smelled funny, it was dirty, but man, if the Globetrotters come in town, dude, I got to see that. And it was must-see stuff in the 70s, 80s, and, of course, it continues today. But with all the other entertainment options, it kind of gets washed away. But when you had Curly Neal, Meadowlark Lemon, all those guys, and And heck, I mean, they were huge. They had like their own like cartoon characters on like Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
You know, they had their own. They're on their own cartoon show. They were a franchise. I mean, they were huge.
Yeah, you knew you hit it big time when you got to be on Scooby Doo.
Oh yeah. You were a celeb when you got to have a guest starring role on Scooby Doo the cartoon for sure. So looking at and talking about the Harlem Globetrotters kind of gets us into our next topic here, and that is what the NBA is thinking about doing now. When is this vote scheduled to go through?
Well, let me just tell you the premise of the whole thing is what I've heard is the NBA is going to basically say, hey, we're going to go to Disney and we're going to finish out with the top 16, no matter where your conference is, no matter what division you are, the top 16 records. So, for example, Milwaukee Bucks, the number 1 seed, would take on the 16 seed Orlando Magic. So both Eastern Conference teams, all right?
Okay.
Number 2 would be the LA Lakers against the Brooklyn Nets, excuse me. So opposite ends, right?
Right.
Raptors, the 3 seed against the Memphis Grizzlies.
Your boys.
Yep. No shot, bad draw.
Yeah, that's a bad draw.
4, LA Clippers against the Dallas Mavericks.
That could be an entertaining series.
Yeah. The 5 seed, the Boston Celtics against the Philadelphia 76ers, the 12 seed.
Ooh, really? 5-12 matchup could prove.
Yeah. That's a tough opening series for either one.
Yeah, and if Ben Simmons is healthy, it could get even more interesting.
Right. 6 is the Denver Nuggets against the Indiana Pacers.
Wow.
7 is the Utah Jazz against the number 10 seed Houston Rockets.
Wow. That's dude, no defense will be played in that.
and then your 8, 9 seeds are the Miami Heat against the OKC Thunder.
Oh wow.
So this is a vote, and obviously some teams are going to get left out that felt like, they were in the top 8 of the Eastern Conference. So apparently they need 20 votes out of the 32 to make this a majority pass and to do this year. And this is what an Adam Silver commissioner decision. He prefers that this is the direction the league takes from here on out concerning the playoffs. He wants an overall record and not just, you've been finishing 6 games under 500 and you're in.
And you're an 8 seed in the East.
Right.
But the 8 seed in the West is 47-35.
And yeah, in my opinion, Adam, I think this provides tremendous drama for those first round games.
Yeah, definitely. Because you're talking about a one and done like the NCAA tournament, right? In the first round.
Well, that's another option that they're talking about.
Okay. So they're thinking about doing 2 out of 3 in the first round and moving it to maybe 3 out of 5 and then
5 out of 7.
7. Okay. Well, yeah, it's definitely interesting. Plus, you're talking about. I mean, it seems to me like this thing is set up to pass, and it's what they want because, as I said, as you said, you got 20 votes needed out of 32. If you're one of the owners of one of the top 16 teams, you're voting yes. Okay, so you only need 4 votes. Well, the bottom 4 teams that got no shot, you got their votes, right? So the Warriors and the Hawks, there's 2 votes right there. Okay, so you really only you go shopping for 2 votes if you're the other 18, in my mind. So I it feels like that's the direction, and it feels like that's going to pass, and that's going to end up what we're watching. Now, again, we may not be watching it till August,
right?
So, but still, it's better. It's better than just scrapping the whole season.
Well, and again, if they can get this passed and done, and their season completed, by a Labor Day ish around area, then they're going to restart this 2021 season, right around Thanksgiving, 1st of December, and get it going again.
Oh, so they're going to immediately – there's going to be immediate turnaround.
Yeah, that's the direction that they were talking. Now, again, as you and I both know, as we look at stuff every day, it changes all the time.
Yeah, it is. It's a coin flip as it's May 25th.
No one wants to make that first mistake that costs their league.
Yep. Nobody wants to do that. Yep. And we're getting close to June 1st, which is a big day. June 8th is another hallmark date in terms of like facilities opening, training to start, that sort of thing. So I know Georgia, June 8th is when we talked about the NFHS putting forth the guidelines and leaving up to the states to, as long as you abide by these guidelines, you can have this many people and all that sort of stuff. There's so many boxes to check. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's just it's just funny how have we been talking about this for weeks on weeks, and how we saw like New York and California vehemently saying there is no way we're allowing this to happen, and now they're going, you know what? Go ahead and play sports. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
we can't even get Dr. Fauci to make a decision anymore.
Well, he's made one decision and then he makes another decision. So he's basically argued on both sides of the border. He's argued for he's argued for staying in. He's argued for wearing masks. He's argued for not wearing masks. I'm not really sure what to believe when he opens his mouth anymore. And I kind of feel for the guy because he's supposed to be in the twilight of his career and he's front and center in the most horrific pandemic in 100 years. And he's going to be remembered for just that and the decisions that he makes. All right. That gets us to our human interest side of tonight's show. And this could go a lot of different directions, but I know Paul's is going to be very quick because I already know his answer to this. But for me, and the best Gatorade flavors growing up. Now, you and I are old enough to when it's basically three. Okay, there was orange, there was lemon lime, and we were alive when they introduced fruit punch. Okay, and that was maybe the greatest thing ever. We thought it was. Gatorade came in glass bottles, etc. Since then, they've expanded G2, G Light, G this, G that, all this stuff, all these different sugar-free, G protein, all this sort of stuff. But for us, just the regular Gatorade. For me, Gatorade is a huge part of my life because as an athletic trainer, I was in charge of the Gatorade, and the kids all wanted Gatorade. So I would end up making most of it, teaching my kids, hey, did you make the Gatorade? Did you bring the Gatorade? We had two basic kinds that I would get, and the kids loved it. One was Glacier Freeze. I don't know if you've ever had Glacier Freeze Gatorade before.
Is that clear?
It's like a light blue.
Okay.
It's called Glacier Freeze. Excellent. The other one is called Riptide Rush. You ever had Riptide Rush?
No.
It is purple and it is fantastic. Okay. Now, though that's a more modern flavor. All right. For me, I'm an orange Gatorade guy. Okay. I like orange Gatorade. I've always liked orange Gatorade. Now, the only other fringe flavor that I absolutely love, and it's a shame that it doesn't come in a larger container. It only comes in like the 20-ounce 8-packs, okay?
Right.
I don't know if you've ever had this called green apple. Have you ever had green apple?
I've not had it, but I definitely have seen it.
It is so good. It's unbelievable. And I tell you what, you haven't lived until you've put 20 ounces of green apple in an ice tray. and made a
In a what?
popsicle out in an ice tray and made
Oh, I
a popsicle
got you.
out
I
of it.
got you. Yep.
Oh, and you can either make a popsicle out of it or you can use them as ice cubes, dude. It's the best. I'm just telling you.
And what drink do you pour in there as the ice cube?
You can actually use. Sometimes I'll just use water.
Okay.
And or you can use like another type of Gatorade. You just have fun with it. You do whatever you want with it. It's complete. It's like going to the ballpark and getting a super slushy, man. You do whatever. Do whatever you want. But so, what is your go-to flavor?
Obviously, I now call Gatorade by their color. I'm that old.
Yeah.
Red. And as I told you, red. It would be the go-to. You called it fruit punch. I call it red. My second one and I remember this in a TV show. They were like, blue is not a flavor. Blue is a color. But I like blue. Dark blue.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of it, but I like it. The least favorite. Okay, go ahead. What is it called?
I think it's called Cool Blue.
Cool. Okay.
I think that's what it's called. It's
all right.
Angle flavor. It's new.
Yeah. Least favorite, and that's because I think that's all we had growing up was lemon lime.
Yes,
and I cannot take it anymore.
Well, here's why, and here's why it's my least favorite. Because back in the day, you didn't have Pedialyte, okay? And you're familiar with Pedialyte, right?
Yeah.
So back in the day, you had a virus, a stomach virus,
right?
And you're puking your guts out for 3 days, and you're dehydrated. What did your mom always give you?
Yeah,
you went, I'll stop at the store and get some Gatorade. And what kind was it? They always got lemon lime. So when I felt the absolute dog sickest in my life, what was the only thing staring me in the face? It was lemon lime. So when I'm feeling good, I don't want to see lemon lime Gatorade. Now, it helped me, probably kept me alive, but I don't want to see it outside of being deathly ill. No lemon lime Gatorade for me.
No, me neither.
Right there with you, brother.
It's like when you open your lunch box when you were a kid and you see in a bologna sandwich again. I had a bologna sandwich every stinking day for lunch.
So you don't eat them as an adult because you can't stand it.
Correct.
I get it. I get it. I understand. Yeah. There's certain things that they're tattooed on our brain and they just leave indelible memories of us.
Absolutely.
Well,
as you wrap this up, Adam, I want to tell you this. If I ever have lawn questions, I'm going to call Phil Mickelson.
Oh.
I don't know if you saw this, but talking about the different colors of the grass and how they're going to speed and slow the ball up. I'm like, Phil, what are you doing, man? It's pouring down rain. And then all of a sudden he sticks it within 3 inches of the cup. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, maybe this guy knows what he's talking about. Yeah. So, Phil Mickelson, you got another job if you want one. I got you.
Yes, horticulturist and landscape designer for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Guys, appreciate you guys listening in on tonight, Monday night, May 25th, Memorial Day. We encourage you guys to follow us on Twitter at @DriveThruSport, at D-Thru-Sport, as well as listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeart, and Spotify, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Drive Thru Sports with Adam and Paul. Also, we have merchandise available. Venmo us at HNS Broadcasting, and check out our latest episode, and we got it right here. You can also subscribe for our YouTube channel right at the end of this video. Just click on the picture of Paul and myself, and you can subscribe and follow us. So for Paul Brees, this is Adam Freeman. You've been listening to Drive Thru Sports with Adam and Paul.